Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. Janelle is off tonight. Former Shepherd Superintendent Scott Carter is officially fired from the job. The Shepherd School Superintendent's firing became final tonight. He came to work in August with a blood alcohol level nearly 3 times the legal limit, it turns out. Q2's David J. has more from a short school board meeting. David?
Well, Russ, Scott Carter was inebriated on the job on August 22nd, and he stated in a letter that he did not drink at work. The school board finalized the firing of him tonight. Carter did not come to the hearing that gave him a chance to appeal a board termination vote in August. The board voted unanimously 7-0 tonight to officially terminate him. Carter was suspended on August 22nd. He later stated in a letter posted on the district's website and Facebook page that he violated the trust of the community by showing up at work smelling like alcohol. The board had not said anything about his alcohol issue until tonight. Board Chair Carl Openshaw said a staff member suspected a smell of alcohol from Carter, who then agreed to a breathalyzer test.
I asked our superintendent if he would subject himself to a breathalyzer. He did. So we had our on-staff SRO, the sheriff's officer, give that breathalyzer. And it was about 9 o'clock in the morning, and he blew a .227, which is about 3 times the legal driving limit. So at that time when I got that information, I placed him on administrative leave.
Andrea O'Donnell is a Shepherd School curriculum director, has been working as the interim superintendent. Carl Openshaw says the board will talk about the position in October. Russ?
All right, thank you, David. Well, the candidate's hoping to take a seat on the Billings City Council next year, taking part in a forum tonight as they hope to score points with voters. Billings Chamber hosted that event at MSUB, which was moderated by former Billings Mayor Chuck Tooley. There were a number of topics discussed, including public safety and what Billings needs to do to keep up with the demands for a growing workforce. Billings voters will make their decision in the general election coming up on November 5th, and we'll be hearing more from the candidates in coming weeks as we get closer to the election. Remnants of Tropical Storm Imelda severely flooded parts of Texas and Louisiana today. Rescue crews and volunteers with boats struggled to reach stranded drivers and families trapped in their homes. That storm's being blamed for 2 deaths now. Courtney Zabowski reports from Houston.
We still need people to keep off the streets.
Houston officials are urging residents to stay safe after sundown.
As it gets darker, it's even more dangerous to be out and about. It's hard to see debris. It's hard to see how deep the water could be.
The storm brought massive flooding along an approximately 100-mile stretch of southeastern Texas, dumping the most rain since Hurricane Harvey hit Houston just over 2 years ago.
In our little section, this is flooded worse than it did in Harvey.
Across the Houston area, authorities evacuated hundreds of people and helped others stranded in cars. In Beaumont, the Coast Guard airlifted multiple patients to safety. Houston Police Chief Art Acevedo worked with rescue crews in neighborhoods where streets looked more like lakes.
Hey, Troy, are these houses clear?
In the small town of Winnie, homes hit hard by Harvey are under several feet of water.
You would think it would never happen again. You know, here we are.
What makes you so nervous here?
Thought of losing everything in my house and restarting everything again.
The storm has dumped more than 40 inches of rain in some areas, and more is in the forecast. Courtney Zabowski, CBS News, Houston, Texas.
Well, Imelda has also unleashed tornadoes and 500,000 lightning strikes. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has declared a state of emergency there. All right, Rob Griggs joining us now. And boy, Rob, they are really getting hit hard down there.
Well, they are. And the heartbreaking thing from the pictures that we saw, what blows my mind is that by end of business today, some of those areas around Houston could see 25 to 35 inches of rain
That's
total.
unbelievable.
Yeah, I can't even fathom it. So, you know, we have some weather coming into our neck of the woods, but nothing like some of our neighbors down there in the southeastern corner of Texas are facing. Look at that. Boy, gosh. Right now, 75 degrees in Dallas, and you can see that the showers down there along the Gulf Coast area is starting to break up a little bit. Still 83 degrees in New Orleans, so you know that Houston is muggy and it's wet, and they're just desperately trying to clean up the mess. Now, as we look at the picture right now, all those little places in Montana kind of grouped together, so let's zoom in and show you what's happening. We do have some showers moving our way, and it's starting to develop into what could be a very stormy day tomorrow. We'll give you all the details with the Q2 Storm Tracker forecast in just a bit. Ross?
All right, thank you, Rob. A rise in raven populations around the world is impacting Northwestern energy crews right here in rural Montana. Northwestern is responsible for maintaining the 500 kV lines from Colstrip to Townsend, but birds have been making that task very difficult. MTN's Evelyn Schultz explains.
Look up in the sky in Broadview. With winter coming, these linemen are in a race against time. But it's not exactly the weather that's the issue.
If it's dry, it's okay. If it's clean, it's okay. It can cause outages in the right condition.
Jim Luke's been working on this project for 2 years since he figured out what was tripping the lines.
It's almost a wonderment that a simple raven can bring down the biggest system in the Northwest. The 500 kV system is really the backbone of Northwestern Energy's grid operation.
There aren't birds here right now, but just wait until winter. That's when thousands of ravens will roost on the 500 kV lines.
I've learned a lot about birds over the last few years here that I didn't really ever want to know.
The problem? The ravens' droppings. Also called mute, they can cause outages if they build up in the wrong spot.
Of course, gravity works, that stuff falls down and contaminates the insulators.
When the mute cakes up and we have fog come in and allow for a transfer path through the tower, those, when they trip the line, do not re-energize. So we have to clean them.
They can't totally stop the birds from roosting on the lines, but Luke says they may have found a solution. The crew builds bird deterrents. They look like this. Then they climb to the top of these towers to install them. Their goal, control where the birds go to the bathroom.
Not to necessarily push the ravens completely off the towers, but take away some of their convenience and let them remain here because they will be here. There's a food source nearby.
So far, Luke says the troubles with number 2 are improving, but they'll know for sure when winter comes.
Hopefully by next year at this time, we're going to be looking at a lot of towers that are pretty clean that have these new spike strips put on.
Reporting from Broadview, Evelyn Schultz, MTN News.
Well, the energy company is installing the spikes in 7 specific spots across the state where those birds hang out the most, including near Broadview, Harleton, and Pompey's Pillar. Luke says other energy companies may follow their lead. Waste from eagles near migration lines has also posed a problem for crews, but its consistency is a bit different, we're told, so it doesn't impact the lines quite as much. Montana Highway Patrol welcomed 13 new state troopers today in Helena. The newly commissioned troopers were selected for more than 200 applications to join MHP. The men completed 20 weeks of rigorous training to lead up to this day. Trooper Thomas Clausen of Plentywood received both the Michael Haynes Memorial Grant and the Camp Commander Award. Clausen said he hopes to live up to the ideals of the Montana Highway Patrol and be someone the public can count on.
Just to continue to serve the people and be that person they're looking up to and always be a good person, I guess. Being someone that's reliable and they can depend on, be a leader of the community.
Will now go through 12 weeks of field training before heading off to their duty stations. Well, Lewistown's Morgan Pierce is the new Miss Montana Teen USA for the 2019-2020 term. 3 days ago, Pierce, a 15-year-old sophomore at Fergus High, received her crown. After competing in just 2 pageants, the title holder secured the big win at this weekend's Miss Montana competition in Missoula. Pierce has been a pageant fan for years and vowed that one day she'd walk the stage too.
Growing up, I watched the Miss USA pageant on TV every single year with my mom. And I always looked at those girls as such big role models and inspirations. And I said, when I'm old enough to go into the teen division, that's what I want to do.
This year, Pierce's dream of competing came true. She'll compete against title holders throughout the country at the Miss Teen USA competition. That's coming up next April. All right, up next on Q2, the CDC releasing updated numbers in the sickness that's been affecting people who vape. We'll have the latest on that. Plus, we're going to check out what's set to get minted on the silver screen in downtown Billings over the next 5 days. And later in sports, Skyview's soccer girls are dancing through 22 straight wins without a loss. Scott shows us how they're doing it.
You're watching MTN News with Janelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.